What's up, everybody? Time for the full playoff predictions by me. Let's get it started. First off, we're going to start off in the East. We're going to get some of the easy ones out of the way. First off, Milwaukee and Miami. Miami, playoff Jimmy Butler is a monster. He hasn't really, he had one good game today in the play-in, but overall, they have no chance against the Bucks. The Bucks are insane. I'll give them one game because Jimmy is like that. Boston, Atlanta. I'm not even gonna give Atlanta one game. Boston is a whole nother monster. Same with Philadelphia. Brooklyn is good. I think they'll be able to win at least one game just because their defense, the defensive players they have, I think can just be a bit annoying for Joel Embiid, for a James Harden. Offensively, I don't think they'll have enough to really go toe-to-toe with them like that. But I think I'll give them one game. Overall, Philadelphia is going to win. The most interesting first round in the East, however, is this 4-5 matchup. Cleveland Cavaliers and New York Knicks. This is the most 4-5 matchup you could get. These teams are very close together. Cleveland is the number one defense in the league. The Knicks are like a top 3 offense in the league, which always surprises me, but they are. Jalen Brunson has taken a huge leap this year. He's a menace. They played a game earlier this year and Jalen Brunson had 48 points, I believe, against them, something like that. Crazy game. But in this series, I think I would give the edge to Cleveland just because Donovan Mitchell is a proven playoff performer. He always exceeds in the playoffs, 30 plus points in the playoffs. And their backcourt along with him alongside Darius Garland is a really strong backcourt. Their front court, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley is a top 3 finalist in Defensive Player of the Year in his second NBA season. Absolutely insane. They protect the rim like no other team in the league. So they have that. They don't really have that fifth player in the starting lineup. It always seems like kind of a rotating door between like Karis LeVert, Lamar Stevens, whatever. They don't really have a big wing like that, like a defensive wing perimeter stopper, because Darius and Donovan aren't really those defensive perimeter players, which I guess hasn't really mattered because they're still the number one defense in the league. And I don't think the Knicks can really punish them with that. RJ Barrett would be their wing that would punish them, but RJ has just been a bit inconsistent. He hasn't really taken the big leap like that, and I think he's one of the big X factors for the Knicks if they want to win this series, as well as Jalen Brunson. In last year's playoffs, he played amazing as well, being the lead guard for that Mavs team, beating that Utah team with Donovan Mitchell, actually. So this will be a fun rematch in which both of those guys are on 2 different teams in a different conference. But him alongside with Julius Randle, who got injured, but he said that he's coming back for game 1. That's going to be interesting to see how well Julius plays in his first game back, to see if there's any rust or anything like that. The Knicks definitely got them beat on the depth. They have one of the best benches in the league. They have a possible 6th man of the year, Emmanuel Quickley. Super deep bench versus Cleveland. Not really a deep team like that. However, I'm going to give them the edge because they have such a strong top 4 defensively and offensively. Donovan can he wielded Utah for years as their main offensive guy, and now alongside Darius Garland, I think that they're still going to be really good. So I'm going to give the edge to Cleveland in 7 here. The Western Conference first round looks like it's going to be one for the ages, man. I don't know. This is a really cool first round. First off, we're going to go Denver and Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm going to pick Denver. They've been the number one team almost entirely. I mean, they haven't been the best team overall the entire year. They've had moments in the last month, 2 months, where they haven't been super consistent. Jokic is still a beast. Their offense is still amazing. Their defense, their defense is an issue. I think they can make it, but they definitely don't really have a defensive stopper. Minnesota, I just watched them win against the Thunder. They looked really good. And it's a shame that they're missing Naz Reid and Jaden McDaniels. and God, who else was it? They're missing one more player, I think, in the front court. But man, this would be a really fun matchup if they were all fully healthy. It's going to be interesting to see Jokic against Gobert alongside Cat. I think it should be a fun matchup. Ultimately, I'm going to pick Denver to win. I'm going to say Denver in 6. I don't think they're not unbeatable. Like, they are beatable. And I think that Minnesota is going to be an interesting matchup for them. And I'm going to give Minnesota the edge. Cat has been playing pretty well. He has been getting in foul trouble a lot. And Anthony Edwards has been a bit inconsistent, at least in these last 2 play-in games. But I think he showed out last year in the playoffs that he can elevate his game. So I think it'll be a fun matchup to watch. Ultimately, Denver in 6, though. The rest of these 3 matchups are insane. Phoenix and the Clippers. Man, I really wish Paul George was healthy, because then this would be one for the absolute ages. Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul against Kawhi, Paul George, Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant in a playoff series against each other. Oh man, obviously it's not going to be the same as if Russ from like 3-4 years ago, but Russ has been playing really well on the Clippers as of late, and Kawhi, since he's been healthy for basically this entire year, he's been an all-NBA caliber player. I don't think he's played enough games to be an all-NBA guy. I think he's averaged like 27 points at least. Still really good on defense. If only Paul George was there, because then they could have PG and Kawhi against KD and D-Book. That would be such a cool matchup to watch. The Clippers defense hasn't really been what you would expect the Clippers defense to be, considering who they have. They are one of the deepest, if not the deepest teams in the league. They have Norman Powell off the bench. I can't think of any other players right now, but they had a really good bench. And I wish Paul George was healthy to play. They're saying he might be a second round return if they make it to the second round. Ultimately, I think I'm going to give Phoenix the edge here in 6. Moving on to Sacramento Kings and Golden State Warriors. This will hopefully be the most fun matchup in the first round. The Kings have the best offense in the league. The Warriors are still one of the best offenses in the league with Steph Curry. Wiggins is going to be back for this series, which is they need Wiggins. They need his talent. I wonder how he'll play, considering he's been out for more than I don't even know. It feels like 2 months now since Wiggins has played. He might be coming off the bench. But man, I really want to pick Sacramento to win this series. It's a bit tough though. They are the 24th ranked defense in the league. Defensively, they don't really have anybody that's super good. They try really hard though. They really try hard, but their defense is just not that good. And with the Warriors offense that is so good, but the Warriors on the road this season are one of the worst road teams, and the Kings arena this season, with how good the Kings have been after like 16 years of being garbage, those Kings fans are hungry. And I would not be surprised if the Kings take a 2-0 lead to start the series, just because the Warriors' road defense has been so awful this year. Their road record has been so awful this year. And the Kings have just been so good. This will be a shootout. This will be 140 to 145 games. No, I don't think it'll be that much, but this will be a really fun series. I think the Golden State Warriors defense will pull around with Draymond, Kevon Looney. Wiggins is really the X factor here. If he comes back and he's like on his A game, it will be a little bit tough to see Sacramento winning the series. Ultimately, I'm going to pick Sacramento in 7, just because I think I really want to respect the Kings. They've had a great season. Even if they lose in the first round, they've still had a great season. A really good season to be proud of for them. I would not be surprised if the Warriors win, but I want the Kings to win. It would be fun after them having such a bad 16 years of their lives as fans. It would be great to see them win. Memphis and Lakers. This is honestly, even though it's a 2-7, this is honestly a really tough matchup. Memphis, the Grizzlies are one of the best teams in the league. Jaren Jackson Jr. is probably the defensive player of the year. But man, these Lakers, ever since the trade deadline, I don't know how they did it, but they got the right players: D'Angelo Russell, Jared Vanderbilt, Mikal Beasley. They got 3-point shooting. They still got defense. Anthony Davis has been playing great. Austin Reeves just started playing amazing out of nowhere. Not out of nowhere, but he started playing on another level since the All-Star break. They've had one of the best records since the All-Star break. They've had one of the best defenses since the All-Star break. Again, Anthony Davis has been amazing. LeBron is still he's LeBron James. He's still one of the best players in the world, even though he doesn't have to go crazy every night to help them win a game. Their game against the Minnesota Timberwolves in the play-in didn't really make me feel better for the Lakers, because that was a really ugly game for both teams. Just a lot of mistakes and turnovers. The Lakers turned the ball over quite a bit, I believe. They attacked the paint like no other with Anthony Davis and LeBron. And Memphis, if they had Steven Adams, if they had Aquaman, which they don't, he's been injured for a long time now. They also lost out Brandon Clark, who got a big injury. That's a lot of their front court. A lot of their front court depth was just gone right there, because Jaren Jackson and then like Xavier Tillman. So that's not really what you would like. If it was Jaren and Steven Adams locking down that paint, because since they've had I don't know if I said Jared Allen, I'm sorry, Jaren Jackson Jr. Since they've had Jaren Jackson Jr., they've been, when he played, they were like the number 1 defense in the league, I believe. And he locks down the paint like no other. The matchup between him and Anthony Davis is going to be crazy. I think the Lakers are going to have defensive players to put on Ja Morant, but I think Ja Morant is still going to go crazy. I believe in one of the games this year against the Lakers, Ja had like a 39-point triple-double. I think he'll go crazy in this series as well. Man, this is really tough. I want to respect the Memphis Grizzlies just because they have been so good. Desmond Bane has been so good. Their defense has been good. Their their half-court offense is lacking. But if they can go out and transition, run the break against this Laker team, which turns the ball over quite a bit, man. But also, in the past few years, I know the Lakers haven't been as good. Just the last 2 years. I know LeBron, whatever you can say about LeBron, but I think he really wants to win. I mean, he's still amazing, but he's getting old. He's like 37. Is he 38 now? I don't even know. He's old. He's not getting any younger, and this is a good team built around him. I think next year the Lakers are going to be a real problem, depending on what they do in the offseason. But they need LeBron. He wants to win, and I think a motivated LeBron like that, who knows that there's only so many more playoff chances with a team that's pretty decent around you, especially after missing the playoffs last year, losing in the first round the year before, and the year before that they won the championship in the bubble. I don't think LeBron wants to lose, so it feels impossible to choose against LeBron in a playoff situation. I mean, he went to 9 finals in his prime, in the East. But this is gonna be a crazy 7-game series. Man, I'm gonna pick Memphis. I'm just gonna pick Memphis. But I wouldn't be fully surprised if the Lakers win. There's people saying that the Lakers are the complete favorites. I don't think that's true. I think it's gonna be a very close series. All of these Western Conference series are gonna be very fun to watch. I'm very excited. These are my first round predictions. Just to fill out the rest of the bracket. In this hypothetical world where I'm completely correct in everything, I think Phoenix wins in 6 against Denver. I don't know, man. D-Book, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, all in the mid-range like that against Nikola Jokic, who his defense is not... His defense, he is an MVP caliber player, but his defense is not MVP caliber at all. Especially in the drop like that in pick and roll. I mean, against the Warriors last year, he got not exposed, but they really put him through the ringer. So I think Phoenix, even though they don't have the craziest depth, they have the star talent, and Devin Booker and Kevin Durant is star talent. Sacramento Kings and Memphis. I think this is where, if the Kings make it this far, their defense will really show against a Memphis like this. Who would they put on Ja? Who would they really put on Jaren like that? Jaren has been offensively going crazy in the last few weeks of the regular season. So I think in this case, Memphis would win. I'll say in 6. In the East here, I got to go Milwaukee. But I think this would be a really fun series. Cleveland and Milwaukee. Donovan versus this Milwaukee team against a Drew Holiday. Will Drew Holiday lock him up, or will Donovan give them 50? How will Chris Middleton play? He needs to be healthy for the Bucks to win, so he is their big X factor. Brook Lopez against Jared Allen defensively. Brook Lopez and Giannis versus Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Now that is a backcourt. That is a front court combo right there for both teams. Defensively, how will they guard? I mean, defensively guarding Giannis, those are like the 2 best players you could have to guard him. But I mean, the Bucks, they're one of the best defensive teams in the league as well. Ultimately, I think Giannis is going to be hard to stop. I think in this series, he would have a couple, maybe 1 or 2 games where he's not like completely dominant, maybe a bit inefficient, whatnot. But they're also one of the better 3-point shooting teams, the Milwaukee Bucks. So I think they would win. Boston and Philadelphia, man, I want to see Philadelphia win. I know, a little bit blasphemous, but Joel is really good. I like James Harden a lot, man. I would love to see James Harden win a ring, just because he was one of the best offensive peaks of all time on the Rockets. But it's really hard to play against this Boston team. One of the best 3-point shooting teams, one of the best defensive teams. Jason Tatum took another leap this season, even though he was a bit inefficient. Jaylen Brown is a dog. They have the depth. Al Horford, Robert Williams, Marcus Smart, Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon. They have so many players. And I think if they don't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, that would be a complete failure on Boston's part. So I'm going to pick Boston in 7. That's going to be a crazy series. Milwaukee and Boston, I don't know, man. Flip a coin. Whoever you want. Because these 2 teams, man, these are probably the 2 best teams in the league. Literally take a coin flip. I'll say Boston in 7, but Milwaukee in 7. I would not be shocked at all. That would be the closest series ever. And Phoenix and Memphis, I think the Suns are like that. I'll give them in 7. I'll give Memphis that. But it's hard. Again, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. What are you gonna do against that? And in the finals, Suns and Boston Celtics. I gotta pick Boston. Defense, offense, star players, depth, 3-point shooting. They got it all. Phoenix. I mean, if they make it all the way to the finals, obviously, I don't care. I don't want to log in. But Phoenix, obviously, if they make it all the way to the finals, they've been doing something right. I just think Boston is the more complete, well-rounded overall team. So yeah, that's my picks for the entire playoffs. If my first round is completely right and everything else is completely right and I'm completely right. Thank you for watching. Comment down below your predictions for these playoffs and what series you're most excited for. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.